Good day, subscribers! Thank you so much for joining me today. I am Jeremy. This is the Financial Education Channel, and today we're doing my favorite series of the entire month. 3 stocks I'm buying now. This is the November video, and the format will be like normal. I will share the 3 stocks I bought last month in the October video and how they performed. Did they go up? Did they go down? And then we'll talk about any changes to those stocks. I do have one slight change. I'll share that with you guys, and then we'll talk about why I like the stocks I like for the going forward, basically. Now, before I get into any of that, let's just pay homage to the October video, which did over 10,000 views. That makes me so happy to see. That's only the second video I've ever done in this channel's history, which is about 9 or 10 months, that has done over 10,000 views within the first month. So that just proves that you guys are loving this series, and I'm very happy to share this with you guys. It's a lot of good information, and I love sharing the stocks I'm personally buying and the ones I'm interested in. So first off, we need to cover the stocks I bought last month. So they were, if you remember, it was GoPro, my favorite. Wynn was my second favorite, Wynn Resorts, and Apple was my third favorite. GoPro, absolutely a horrible month. I don't even know what type of adjectives and verbs to use for freaking GoPro. 31% down on the month. What a disaster. The day I'm recording this right now, it's Halloween, and you know, I feel like I was in a scary horror movie with GoPro stock. GoPro stock was like go broke stock this month. It was horrible, down 31%. What a tough month. Apple stock, oh, actually Wynn was the next stock up, so Wynn stock was down also, but Wynn stock was down a little less than 4%. And lastly, we had Apple. Apple was up about 1%. Now, with all 3 of these stocks, they had performed very well going into that October video. If you followed along, GoPro stock since May was up almost 100%. It bottomed out at around $8.50 in May, and then, you know, between then and the October video, 5-6 months, it basically jumped to almost $17 a share. So it was up about 100%. Wynn had jumped about 100% in the past 8 or 9 months. That one had bottomed out at about $49 a share back in January, February timeframe, and that came roaring back and was almost $100 a share. And Apple stock price was up about, I would say about 15-20% since August. So in about a month and a half, Apple stock prices went up about 20% or so. So all 3 of these stocks had been performing well, and Apple didn't struggle. It was slightly up, but Wynn obviously struggled a little bit. And then GoPro, what a disastrous month for the stock price of GoPro. So the big question is, what are my 3 stocks this month, and what is that change I announced? And there was a lot of talk I was going to drop Apple possibly and things like that. Well, my number 1 stock is still GoPro. We'll get into that stock last. I'm going to change up the format. We'll go 3, 2, 1 this time. So GoPro is still my favorite. Apple has jumped to number 2. It overjumped Wynn, which is number 3. Wynn is number 3. So first, let's get into Wynn and why I like Wynn Resorts. So first off, we have not seen any results out of the Wynn Palace. That's the $4.1 billion masterpiece Steve Wynn has built over in Macau. It opened up at the very end of August, and we should see the first glimpse of numbers of Wynn Palace here within, I would say, within the next few weeks when they announce their earnings. Now, that full quarter will not, I guess you could say, take into effect the Wynn Palace, because Wynn Palace was only open for part of the quarter, but that should still give us a glimpse of how profitable is this Wynn Palace, how big of a deal this is. I feel like Wynn Palace will be the most profitable resort in the entire world. I took that stance over a year ago, 2 years ago. I still feel that same way today. I think it will be the most profitable resort. I'm talking resort in the world. So that might sound crazy, but I really think it is. I think if you're a VIP, you're going to be gaming at Wynn Palace and not somewhere else. Also, Macau's had some good numbers come out with gambling revenues starting to get back into the swing of things and really bottomed out the last few months and now starting to get back to growth. And also up over 20% with hotel guests in Macau this past month. So really strong numbers starting to come out of Macau, basically, which is going to help Wynn tremendously because Wynn gets most of its business from Macau. Vegas is decently strong right now, but Vegas does not matter the way it does in Macau. Macau matters so much to Wynn Resorts, and Macau now bottoming, getting back to growth, and then you have that compounded with what I think is going to be the most profitable resort in the world opening for Wynn. I see a lot of good things for Wynn in the future. Now, the reason I dropped Wynn down to number 3 and moved Apple up to number 2 is I just like some more things that have happened with Apple. So let's get into Apple. First off, iPhone 7 came out. I think it's a bigger hit than basically what it is. Do I think it's going to do monster numbers now? No. That kind of got proved out last quarter to a certain extent. Now, last quarter, there was only a couple weeks worth of iPhone numbers in there. So it's not like that's a tremendous, oh my gosh, Apple's going to the moon type thing. We're going to see revenue up 30%. But when you compound the Samsung effect, which I think is going to have a big effect positively on Apple, with this whole, I think Samsung's brand, with the whole phones blowing up, the notes and whatnot, I think that's going to damage Samsung's brand for a long time. And I think that's going to be hard for them to recover. Now, those customers that might have bought Samsung products, some of them will probably go to the new Google phone, the Google Pixel. But I think Apple will win a decent chunk. And if Apple can just win 10%, 20% of those customers looking to go somewhere else, that's a great win for Apple. Because as we know, when Apple gets a customer in, they usually lock them in and they don't leave. That customer stays in the Apple ecosystem because they love the software, they get used to it, and they just like the Apple products at the end of the day. So generally, when Apple gets somebody, they don't leave somewhere else. That compounded with Apple Watch 2, I think will be a better seller than Apple Watch 1. You have the new MacBook lineup, which I'm not super excited about. I don't think the new Macs will be huge hits. I think they made a lot of bad moves in the short term with the Mac. Maybe in a few years it'll be okay, but right now I'm like, they dropped like the micro SD, or not micro SD, yeah, the micro SD slot, a lot of different things for SD cards and things like that I use. Every video I record is with a memory card, and then I plug that memory card right into my MacBook. It's very easy. Now they dropped that port. They dropped some other ports. So I'm not super excited about the MacBooks, but bottom line is Apple is an iPhone company. And services grew last quarter up over 24%, and services is a profit machine. So between services, between iPhones beginning to get back to growth now, I look at Apple at a 13 PE, 11 PE forward. I look at, they have the most cash they've ever had on the balance sheet, over 230 billion. And I say to myself, I like Apple. I like Apple a lot. I love Apple a lot. And the company expects to get back to growth. They did a little under 76 billion for the Q4 last year. This year, they expect to do 76 to 78, and generally, Apple's a little conservative with their numbers, so I'm expecting the 78 plus million, and that's all Apple really needs to do is grow slow. When you're trading at a forward PE of 11, and you're just a profit machine, and then you have people upgrading more to the bigger phone, which is more profitable, the Plus phone, the iPhone 7 Plus, that's a more profitable product for Apple. It's much more expensive. When you have those type of trends going, I look at that as being a positive thing. Now, the number one stock, GoPro. We're actually going to dig deeper into some numbers here and basically show I have a big difference between myself and what analysts believe. Now, on your screen now, you should be seeing what analysts have for their numbers for GoPro. And this is for the Q4, so GoPro's Q3 earnings, that will be announced in about 2 or 3 days. That earnings really doesn't matter. It could still move the stock up or down, I don't know. But that earnings is kind of like a throwaway earnings because you're not going to see much for numbers from the new products in there. So the Q4 is the first huge quarter for GoPro that they really need to knock it out of the park and prove to the world that, hey, we're back. Because up until now, it's just been kind of some hype that's pushed the stock up on the new products. But now investors are like, show me GoPro, show me what you can do. So Q4, so analysts, we have 675 million is what they expect. That's compared to what GoPro reported the year before for Q4, which is 436 million. So if analyst numbers are correct, that shows over 50% revenue growth for GoPro. That's a huge number. And I have my numbers actually above what analysts have. So you see my new numbers are 836 million. Now I took that down from my old numbers, which was 994 million. Why did I take my revenue numbers down? Because I don't think GoPro expected the type of demand they're getting for their products, and I see sellouts pretty much everywhere. I thought GoPro would really have the channel filled by now, and they do not have the channel filled. They're kind of spotty. They're getting things in at Best Buy and whatnot, in other retailers, but Amazon's still running out. Best Buy's still running out in a lot of stores. Target's starting to get them in a bit and starting to stay consistent. Walmart still doesn't have the products the way they should have the products. They still don't have the drone set up, anything like that. The drone is a slow rollout. Most Best Buys are still out, and the Best Buys that do have them are the Hero 4 model, so it's not even the newest one where it's the Hero 5 Black model. GoPro is selling a lot of them on the website, and you can pretty much get them almost right away as far as the Hero 5s go, the cameras, but the drone you cannot. The drone is still backed up for until late November. So I look at this and I see two things that could have happened. One is demand is just insanely strong, and every time GoPro gets products in, they go right out the door and they get sold right away. Or two, that GoPro just underestimated what the demand would be. Maybe GoPro thought more conservatively because they haven't done a launch in a couple of years that, maybe we're not going to move as many units as we think, or they think, they're not going to move that many units, and then they're just moving units left and right, and they're like, crap, we didn't produce enough. So that's the reason I really took all my numbers down, because the channel's just not getting filled where it should be filled. We're into, like I said, today's Halloween, so we're almost a month into the Hero 5 launch, the cameras, and we're over a week into the Karma launch, and the Karmas are not even close to being channel filled, and Hero 5s are still spotty in so many big retailers. This is why I took down my numbers, because I really expected them to have the channel filled by now, ready to rock and roll. And now I'm a little scared that the channel will still not be 100% filled by the time Black Friday comes, and then holy smokes, could end up pushing up numbers for Q1. That might be a good thing. Okay, so I took down camera unit numbers, so you see the bottom half, we're focused on that now. I took down the camera units from 3.5 million to 3 million camera units. So that's about $100 million difference in revenue there. The reason being is, like I just said, the channel's not getting filled quite the way I expected. For reference, the last time GoPro had a major camera launch, it was 2 years ago. It was the Hero 4 Silver and Black. They did 2.4 million camera units that year. I'm expecting 3 million this year, because simply GoPro's a lot bigger company. I think they have a lot better product than they had back then. And they're also internationally expanded way more than they were back then. Back then, they were just getting started in China and India and some of these places. Now they're really in those countries. So I expect absolutely camera units to be up versus then. Karma units, I took those down 50,000. Demand is actually stronger for Karma than I expected, based upon the sellouts, and also based upon, I check things like YouTube, seeing how many people are doing unboxings, just regular people, not like tech reviewers, just regular people like doing unboxings and flight tests and things like that. And the amount of people I see doing that kind of stuff is pretty phenomenal. So I actually believe Karma demand is stronger than I thought. But I took down units just because I don't think GoPro is going to be able to get enough freaking units out there. If they do, I would be amazed. But right now, it's, like I said, the launch is really light. The launch is really light. They're not producing as many units as they should be, in my opinion. That's why I took down units 50,000. Accessories, I took that down about 900,000 units. Reason I took down accessories a bit is because I don't think as many camera units will be sold as I thought they were going to be sold, and when people buy camera units, they generally buy accessories. Same thing with Karma. I had to take down Karma units. When I take down Karma units, that also takes down accessories a bit, because people could buy accessories for that, which is why I took accessories numbers down to where I took them. Handheld stabilizer, I took that down 10,000 units. Handheld stabilizer, you still can't get your hands on it unless you buy an actual Karma drone. When will you be able to buy those? I don't know. I think demand will be very good for that product. I think a lot of people, if you don't want a drone and you just want to pay $300 for a handheld stabilizer, I think it's a great option for your GoPros. I believe demand will be high for that, but I'm not very confident they're going to be able to get enough units out there. And that's going to be such a popular seller at Christmas. It's such a thing, you know, to give to your spouse or give to your kids or something like that. Such a cool thing if they already have a GoPro camera. Not confident they're going to be able to produce enough units out there. VR units, I took that down, 2,000 units basically. The VR units, it's hardly matters. I mean, 24 million is the number there. It's hard to judge that. It's only a professional product. It's for 360-degree professional videos and things like that. Regardless, you look at my numbers, I'm $150 million plus above what analysts expect. So I'm still expecting a huge Q4. I'm just not expecting the kind of Q4 I was before. If GoPro had really gotten out there and produced mass amounts of units, got the channel filled by now, then I would be very confident they could hit $1 billion in Q4. But with the channel being so empty like it is now, them not producing as many units as I thought they were going to produce, that is why I had to take down my numbers to 836 million. We'll see how all this plays out over the coming month and months in the future. Hopefully, the stock prices are going to be better next month for next month's video. I hate having to report a 31% down month on my favorite stock, but sometimes it happens. So until next month, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you have not subscribed, you may want to. I talk personal finance on this channel. I talk business. I'm an entrepreneur. I talk about entrepreneurship. And I do tons of stock market videos, including this series every single month that you may want to subscribe. If you guys enjoyed this video, hit that thumbs up button. Please leave me comments if you like these stocks, if you like any of these stocks, if you hate these stocks. I want to hear feedback from you guys on judging these. Thank you for watching, guys, and have a great day.